Here's the run again. Donovan Edwards. Whoa! Can they catch him? No! Donovan Edwards again. 85 yards. The dime.
Michigan tight end is in the ball game. They handed to Corum again and makes the cut. First down. Spins and scores. Blake Corum puts Michigan on top in overtime.
Defense has been winning games for Michigan. Today, though, the Wolverine defense faces its toughest test so far, an Iowa offense that boasts threats at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. The Iowa offense and Michigan defense rate? Well, among the very best in the nation in several categories, including the essential one. Iowa, the third highest scoring team in the country, and Michigan, the toughest in the land to score against. So along with 106,000 plus welcome to Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Dave Barnett along with Bill Curry, so you can make a convincing case either way. Let's start with the Hawkeyes. They can win this game because...
They can win this game. There's an old adage, to a man who only has a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Well, Iowa doesn't operate with hammers. Iowa operates with laser-type speed. Tim Dwight, Tavian Banks. Iowa also has the third-ranked defense in the Big Ten, and they've played a team in Ohio State that runs faster than anybody that Michigan has seen.
Pretty convincing. The Wolverines, they can win because...
The Wolverines can win because they make a habit of beating ranked teams. They are the finest defense in the nation, and Michigan has a quarterback that's proven that he knows how to win in the big game. Brian Griese has come of age in his 5th year.
Both can win, both need to win. Iowa, so they can stay in the Rose Bowl race, and Michigan, so they can hang right where they are in the national race. Right now, let's send you to the studio. And quite simply, another perfect day in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Temperature in the 50s, should get no warmer than the low 60s. And not much breeze, going to stay sunny all afternoon. Couldn't ask for better football weather at Michigan Stadium. Let's send it down to the sidelines and welcome Dave Bryant.
Thanks, Dave. You know, this really is a measuring stick game for both teams. Iowa and Michigan have had very good seasons so far, but the question is, have they really proved themselves just yet? Iowa comes in ranked number 15 in the nation with a 4-1 record, but look at so far what their Division I opponents have done. Just a 5-18 mark between Iowa State, Tulsa, Illinois, and Ohio State. Now Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes have to face some good teams, starting with Michigan today. Wisconsin and Purdue are undefeated down the road for them in Big Ten play. We know the Wolverines are unbeaten, but look at their opponents' fortunes. That's very revealing. Colorado, Baylor, Notre Dame, Indiana, and Northwestern have won just a total of 8 games to this point. Well, it looked like a tough schedule for the Wolverines before the year started. Really hasn't worked out that way, and look what's ahead for them. Guys, Lloyd Carr tells us one thing quite simply. 5 of the 6 teams remaining on Wolverine's schedule this year can win the Big Ten. They're not looking by anyone. In 1997, they could all make the Rose Bowl.
Dave, Michigan wins the toss. They defer, and they will kick. Jay Feely is out, and there's Tim Dwight. Last year, number 2 in the nation in punt returns. This year, most teams have been avoiding him, and Jay Feely has another one of his deep, unreturnable kicks. So Iowa will take over at their 20. Matt Sherman, the number 10 rated passer in the country. Tavian Banks, number 1 among all running backs. Could well go over 1,000 yards today, faster than anyone ever has, at least in terms of number of carries to get there. Michael Berger, his fullback. Chris Knipper, the tight end. Damon Gibson may get a lot of business today because you know the fine Michigan secondary is going to keep close tabs on Tim Dwight. And the blockers, Deal, Reichel, Rose, Goff, and McKinney. Goff, his coaches feel the best they've had up front so far. Up better than 300 pounds and quite a bit of speed for that size, around a 5'1" 40. First pitch of the day for Banks, who looks for room and finds about 9 around the left side of the 29-yard line. The Michigan defense, as we said, the toughest to score against in the country and number 2 overall in total yards allowed. Josh Williams last week against Northwestern had 2 of his 3 career sacks, by far the best he's played in his 2 years at Michigan. Hall, Copenhaver, Sword, and Jones, the linebackers. Jones, who has taken over for the injured Eric Mays, has led him the last 2 weeks in tackles. And the secondary may be the best in the country. Weathers, Ray, Hendricks, and Woodson in a day long, but when they are head-to-head, it'll be worth watching. Sherman decides to keep on a roll, and he is a couple yards shy at the 28, where Josh Williams runs him down.
That's a situation where a quarterback early in a game has an opportunity to make a really foolish mistake. Had Sherman thrown into coverage and all his people were covered, that would have been a serious mistake. There's nothing wrong with a punt in a situation like this.
So on to punt is Jason Baker, a true freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Woodson is back at his 32. And a beauty by Baker. A bit of a breeze behind him. Woodson retreating inside his 15 to begin a fine return. Out across the 35. The punt goes 52 for Baker, and Woodson brings it back 17 yards. The Michigan offense with Brian Greasy, number 15 nationally and 5th in the Big Ten in passing. Howard and Ray Jackson, who starts for the injured Chris Floyd. Jackson, a true freshman. Floyd not expected to play at all today. Hurt an ankle against Northwestern. Tooman coming off 5 catches, 2 for touchdowns last week. Streets and Shaw, the wideouts. And the offensive line with Backus, Hutchinson, Adamy, caliber of competition all year, but they are number 13 nationally. House, DeVries, Klein, LaFleur, and Kramer in their 5-2 look. DeVries, one of 12 Lombardi semifinalists in his junior year from Amplington, Iowa. Linebackers, Matt Hughes from Hayden Fry's hometown, Eastland, Texas, and he's joined by Raj Clark, who has replaced the injured Vernon Rollins. He's out for the year with a knee. Gibson, Cooks, Thigpen, and Atkins, the secondary, thin with 3 wideouts. Williams in motion. Greasy all day, and it is brought in by Williams, but driven out at the 40, and he'll be short of the first down. 46%, almost as effective as Michigan on the 3rd downs. And they run Banks, and he will be 1.5 yards shy this time as Dehaney Jones grabs him around the ankles. So 2 3-and-outs for the high-powered Hawkeyes.
Bank.
3rd and 9. Greasy well protected, but it's picked off by Cooks. Kerry Cooks is brought down at midfield by Chris Howard, returns 15 yards, his 2nd interception of the season. And the first man in the move that time snapped it, Derrick Rose. Sherman didn't get the exchange, and Michigan recovers.
We're seeing a case of the jitters from the most unlikely of sources. Both quarterbacks showing a case of nerves.
So on 3rd and 28, Greasy bumped by his own man, hangs this one up for Ty Streets and off his fingertips at the 25.
Ty Streets is a veteran receiver. He's a big leaguer. He has got to make this catch. That was a beautiful throw from Brian Greasy.
Vinson standing on his 15 in the exchange of turnovers. Iowa gets a block punt, and they'll take over at the 18-yard line. Joe Slattery coming in seemingly untouched. And Jason Vinson never saw him and never had a chance. Find Iowa yet to be scored on in the first. Sherman off the fake to Banks, going for the end zone, and this one is picked off by Marcus Ray at the 1.
We hear so much about Charles Woodson, and deservedly so. The other secondary players for Michigan are also great players. Marcus Ray, in this case, made an outstanding move on the football. Joaquin Fazell, number 90, had pressure on the quarterback.
and they get Williams out in motion. But they go draw play. Howard, and Chris Howard weaves for a key Wolverine first down to the 14-yard line where Kerry Cook's two tight ends. This time Aaron Shea went in motion. And Howard out in the clear and chased by Thigpen. Finally catches it from behind at the 42 of October for the Vols in Bama. 2nd and 9. And the freshman Anthony Thomas gets the call for the first time. He's got another Michigan first. So this drive that started on their own one now reaching the Iowa 47.
Went shown all year and went the other way.
Russell Shaw across in motion. And Greasy delivers to Jeremy Tillman for the first time today. And the tight end, who has really been their best deep threat all year, has the first down and a gain of 11 yards. Nothing, but the second quarter will begin with Michigan driving on Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes here in Ann Arbor. Second quarter from the big house. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Dave Ryan. Nothing, but Michigan has it on the 26 of Iowa. And Jared DeVries has returned, although he tried to return earlier. They wouldn't let him.
Yeah, if I were Jared's coach, I'd be saying don't limp. You don't want everybody in America to know you're hurt. Go out there and get ready to play, and Jared looks like he's ready.
Iowa's run only 10 plays all game. The 11th play of this drive is picked off at the 5-yard line by Ples Atkins. The 11th of his career. Sixth all-time for the Hawkeyes in picks. Brings it back 14. And Brian Greasy, who had 1 interception all season coming into this one, has 2 in this first half. So the Hawkeyes, who, like Michigan, have given it up twice today, go outside. Damon Gibson, senior out of Houston, has the 58 and a 65-yarder. 39 big plays already for this Iowa attack. Weaving his way all the way. Tavian Banks gone. Touchdown, Banks for Iowa. 53 yards.
Those are the lasers that we talked about in the open. Banks was upset with himself on the previous play because he did not break it. This time he finished the job with superb help by Mike Goff, his right guard, who's considered to be a big league prospect himself. This is 4.23 40 speed, as fast as any back in America.
So a stunned silence in Michigan Stadium as Iowa, as they have to everybody except Ohio State this year, gets the big play. Offense cranked up. The extra point by Zach Bromert. And Tavian Banks has struck for the Hawkeyes. 13-29 in the first half. 7-0 Iowa. So Iowa already with more points than they average allowing all season. Russell Shaw on a perfectly timed route and pass, and he brought it in for the first down in 16 yards.
And I might add, I could say the same thing for Brian Greasy.
One on the tape. A chance for a big play there. So that leads to a scramble on 3rd and 7. Hemmed in. Greasy lets that one fly for the Iowa sideline. And they scream for a flag. Hayden Fry says, how can you not throw a flag on that one?
That is the best foot movement I've seen from Hayden Fry in 30 years. He danced down that sideline. He looked like
he became the defender. So 3rd and 17. Incomplete as the blitz was descending on Sherman, intended for Tony Collins.
That's a play most commonly referred to as the jailbreak. I'm surprised that it wasn't directed at Tim Dwight.
I'm at number 5 in the country this week. But down 7-0. Batted away, but it goes to Streets, the intended target all along. He gets about 8 yards out. That's the one that set up the 53-yard Tavian Banks touchdown. Here's Howard. And Chris Howard with some strong running in this first half. 13 yards ended by Jason House's tackle.
Yeah, this play was a
midway in the second. On 2nd and 10, plenty of protection, and Tillman out there roaming free again inside the Hawkeye 30, where Gibson undercuts him 18 yards on his 3rd catch of the first half. He's doing it again. 2nd and 7, and here's Thomas. A lot of power to go with his straight-on speed.
the asteroid car in our meeting with him yesterday.
As big a play as the Iowa defense has yet faced. Greasy not pressured for the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Marcus Ty Streets with the catch from Brian Greasy.
This ball is thrown into a very small window. As you see, number 86 Streets work his way on the curl. That looks like a lot of space, but that's a difficult throw. Execution is what causes touchdowns.
For Streets, his 3rd touchdown of the year. And for Craig Baker, the tying PAT. So we're 7-7. 4:53 to go in the first half from the Big House. Greasy to Ty Streets to tie it up.
Very important for Michigan to answer, and they did.
Now Sherman being chased by Jones. And Dehaney Jones can run a little bit.
I was just about to say that Sherman had surprised me with his speed until I saw him try to outrun Dehaney Jones.
Sherman now having to bark it out over the crowd on 3rd and 11. Off the play fake. Intercepted at the 45. The second in this first half from Marcus Ray.
Marcus Ray showed his experience. He baited Sherman into this throw. He hung and hung. He didn't let Sherman see that he had good coverage. He sat in the middle. He's right over here, just out of the picture, until the ball is thrown, and then he makes this break. That's his 2nd interception of the day.
Sword didn't see Marcus. So Michigan now thinking about a halftime lead. Forget it. Interception. Ed Gibson with a big return. Inside the 5, stretches toward the goal line and almost made it at the 1. Iowa, after a 63-yard return by Ed Gibson, will have it 1st and goal.
2 consecutive ill-advised throws by 2 veteran quarterbacks who should know better. What's happened is these 2 quarterbacks have obviously made a decision that they're going to have to force things and make big plays today, and they have both cost their teams. This is what you call good field position.
Well, a couple of teams that have not been plagued by turnovers, certainly to this degree, and that is the story, beginning and ending of the story for this first half. Ed Gibson with his first pick of the year to set up the Iowa touchdown. As the fullback, Berger, just plowed over left tackle to give the Hawkeyes the lead back.
That was an old-fashioned power eye with those linemen down in 4-point stances, their elbows bent, their knees bent, nose to the ground, and root hogging off the football to move the line of scrimmage backward. You'll see the line of scrimmage actually move into the end zone, which allows the fullback, Berger, number 85, to knock it in for the touchdown.
Which he enjoyed. Banks gets most of the scoring opportunities. And that's the first this year for Berger. The extra point is blocked. So keep it at 13-7 Iowa.
Careless protection up front causes those kinds of blocks.
The 63-yard return by Gibson, though, made the Berger touchdown possible, and it's 13-7.
Every time.
Is there ever a good time for rioting? It's really the question.
Charles Woodson is in the game at the inside receiver on the right side.
What they go, draw play for Howard, and it's knocked loose. It looked after the tackle, but the ball recovered at the 41 by Iowa.
That's 94 Jared DeVries who fought through the knee injury to get back on the field, who knocked that ball loose. Football is a game of ball security, field position, blocking and tackling. Jared DeVries got a nice play going here, does Howard. DeVries tackles the ball, knocks it out. Nice play by the big man.
Michigan offense has given it up 4 times on giveaways. The defense, though, trying to get it back for him once more. And this one is batted around, and with 3 blue jerseys converging on it, none of them can come up with it. And Clint Copenhaver can't believe that result. Just outside the stadium. First time out just called by Iowa. They each have 2. Williams, nothing, no gain, and another quick Hawkeye turnover or timeout call with just 5 seconds elapsed, and they line up right in front of one another and hope that Dwight is able to guess right, and in this case he is driven back inside his 40 on a big punt by Vincent. Reverses field, gets a block, and weaves the other way, and he's gonna go. Tim Dwight brings this one back as time elapses in the first half. Mercy, 61-yard return by Dwight.
The Iowa team is electrified by their most electrifying player. Tim Dwight has turned over the Heisman run to Tavian Banks, but he might have just vaulted right back into the picture. And a great open field block by Rob Tyne, number 31.
Only the 6th time this year a team has allowed Tim Dwight to make a return.
And David, there is no time on the clock.
He got to about midfield and you started to think, well, should he just go down and give that offense one more shot? Never entered his mind, quite obviously.
Tim doesn't think quite that way. Going for 2.
This made necessary by the blocked extra point. On the roll, wide open is Knipper. And so the first half expires with a 61-yard punt return by Tim Dwight. A fired-up Hayden Fry. And over 100,000 very unhappy Wolverine fans in the big house. This goes straight on to the Tim Dwight highlight reel. One of his best. And it makes for a 21-7 Iowa halftime lead. Iowa offense clearly the best that they faced this year. And only 84 total yards in the first half. Certainly they have passed, but they're down. Williams, a nice gain, swinging out and knocked out at the 48 after 16 yards by Ples Atkins. The Iowa high school stars leaving the state. Very seldom does that happen anymore, and he brings in more than his share from Texas. Williams trying the other side this time. And let's see where they mark him out, right about where he needed to get for the 3 catches today for Greasy's favorite target, Williams. Clarence now getting the ball on the ground. Piece of work there, and a late flag on apparently a late hit. Right at the Michigan bench.
Elford. Here's a 3rd and 6. Greasy has to step away from Degree, and wide open in the end zone is Russell Shaw for the Michigan touchdown. The extra point. Greasy sensing the pressure from Jared DeVries. Steps up away from it, looks up. There's Russell Shaw, and just like that, less than 3 minutes into the 3rd quarter, it's back down.
3rd quarter, and exactly the guy they don't want to have affect this game any more than he already has. But they again kick it to Tim Dwight from 1 yard deep, and they're ready for him.
Number 20, Ian Gold, made that happen. He did not make the tackle, but he forced Tim Dwight to make a move. A reserve linebacker, a former running back, for whom the Michigan coaches have high hopes. Ian Gold.
Might be. Draw play, and Banks able to show that burst. Shook into the clear, and he's got a first down for Iowa. And again, matched with Woodson on the other side. Looks for Dwight, overthrows him.
And he overthrew him because Glenn Steele was lying on his shoulder pads as he...
Then their sparkling seasonal average. On third, DeVries, though, almost untouched to wrap up Greasy. Sherman finds Banks underneath, but he can't find any room at all, and wiping him out from behind was Renas.
There just aren't many good calls on 3rd and 11.
And a better than 2-1 advantage in total yards gets even bigger. Here's a cut back by Thomas, and Anthony Thomas has one man to beat with an angle. Eric Thigpen shoves him out inside the 5.
And another big block by 76 Steve Hutchinson, the redshirt freshman from Coral Park, Florida. This is football. Pads down, everybody fighting.
Greasy on the sneak, and that time it works.
Yeah, and that time the big guys up front did something with their feet. That's the first time that the O-line came off like they should, and Coach DeBoer will have them on the boards, literally, on the practice field next week. The Michigan staff will not be excited about that drive from the 2-yard line.
Hasn't been Brian Greasy's day. He has thrown 3 interceptions. But he has them in position for Craig Baker to tie it with the extra point. Which he does, and with 3:11 to go in the 3rd, Iowa, which led 21-7 at the half, has been caught.
The offensive line surges with their shoulder pads, their feet. They create movement so that the quarterback can dive and get across that imaginary line. That caused the touchdown. And on the previous 2 plays, they did not respond in the same fashion.
Build there of the receiving formation for the Hawkeyes. Jay Feely often doesn't get you one to return, but Dwight brings this one from the 3, and he again finds some open room. Tim Dwight in a foot race and knocked out. They will mark him at the 27-yard line, but he's done it again to Michigan. 1st and 10 from the 26 of the Wolverines. Tavian Banks thought he saw room to the left. Didn't last long. Clint Copenhaver wrapped him up at the 32. Receptions. Protection good again. But Woodson closed on what he thought was the angle at the 21-yard line. Because they score mostly touchdowns, he hasn't tried that many this year. This one is on the mark, and it does break the tie.
And that faint sound you hear from the corner of the end zone is the 5,000 Iowans. It's amazing how different the 5,000 sound from the hundreds.
Just a tiny little pocket. But they're making their presence known about as well as they can. 15 more minutes at Michigan Stadium. Number 15, Iowa, 24-21 over the 5th-ranked Wolverines of Michigan. Would like to force another punt to Tim Dwight. And they come after Greasy, got it off in time for Tim, but he is immediately buried by Cooks at the 30. To the 4th. Sherman trying to be heard over the 106,000 plus. They pick up the blitz, and he is out of bounds on the catch by Gibson. Damon Gibson one-on-one with William Peterson, who has been terrific today.
Fighting player in America for number of yards per touch.
Greasy coming on the bootleg, and there's DeVries. Big day for Jared, the junior from Applington, Iowa, the Lombardi candidate. Loss of 4, 2nd and 14. Williams. Clarence Williams breaks one off to midfield where he's knocked out by Thigpen. That's 15 for Clarence. Greasy off the play fake, and there's DeVries again. He is just wearing out Chris Zeman.
He's wearing out John Jansen, the offensive captain, and that time he had a chance to work on Zeman, and he wore him out too.
Streets is right. On 3rd and 30. Greasy having the roll, fire one up, and out of bounds, intended for Streets.
And I just have to comment on this performance by Jared DeVries. He beat his man so quickly, Chris Zeman. He used a beautiful spin move, and he was in Greasy's face immediately, not allowing the pattern to develop.
The coach for this Michigan group of DBs, which has been superb today. Banks tripped up. He's going to be 2 yards shy of the first. They did not at any point, Bill, look to the pass on that possession. 5 of 16 for 25 yards, all they've been allowed through the air, so you can understand why they didn't think pass. Short drop. Greasy with a pump fake and buried at the 17. Aaron Klein was there alongside Jeff Kramer. 24, 128 yards, 3 picks. His worst day of the year by far. This will be interference on Ples Atkins, who climbed the back fairly obviously of Ty Streets. Iowa ready to come with the blitz. Might have gotten off too quickly. Tillman makes the catch at the 45. Good for 20 yards as we wait for the flag.
But this is a very big call by the officials. So much of it depends on who moves and when. Defense offsides is the call.
The man that moved for Iowa. Greasy finally with some time on another catch by Jeremy Tillman. 20 more, 15 more yards out at the 30.
Exactly the same play.
With only 5 minutes left, it's still down. Thomas breaking through the middle for 8 or 9.
One back in the backfield. Backs, receivers, tight ends spread all over the field. The natural anticipation of the defense would be to expect.
This may be the day that Thomas can no longer be seen as a freshman. Same thing, and he's to the 15, another Michigan first down.
Little fisticuffs occurring after the play. Flags all over the field. And again, depends on who hit first and who hit last. Normally, the player who hit last is the one that's called. Zach Adamy, the center, is involved.
Third penalty on this Michigan drive against Iowa from the 2. Play fake, Greasy on the roll, pulls up, there's Jeremy Tillman, and Michigan leads. Extra point try for Craig Baker to force Iowa to think touchdown only, and he's got it, and it's 28-24. 2:55 remaining for a possible Iowa comeback.
Brilliant play call. Coaches like me and others love to talk about gut checks and bending your knees and knocking people back at the goal line. But you also better be able to do things like this. A little deception, 3 tight ends in the game. Excellent poise by the quarterback, Brian Greasy. Jeremy Tillman coming up with the big play as he has so often for this Michigan team. Now John Jansen, their offensive leader, down. They've already lost their defensive captain, Eric Mays. It appeared that Jeff Kramer was not badly hurt. We have to hope the same is true of John. Jeff Kramer, the outside linebacker for Iowa.
So this goes 11 plays, 77 yards, capped off by Greasy to Tooman.
And as you mentioned earlier, Dave, the two big penalties were crucial in that situation. Looks like Big John's going to be all right. Everybody here is happy about that, especially Mrs. Jansen, his mom, somewhere.
Mike Tirico, what do you have? Talking about the number 2 total offense in the country. Sherman chased and dropped at the 28 by Rod Renas.
Glenn Steele is down, but that help him? You say, yeah, if he's a good boxer. So prayers might help if you're a real good football team on 4th and 9.
Won't hurt. Dwight comes left, Gibson right. Ian Gold through the middle. They pick him up on his blitz. Sherman finds Gibson. And Gibson in the open field, dragged down at midfield by Charles Woodson, but Iowa is still alive on a 22-yard Sherman to Gibson connection. Banks goes in motion. Sherman keeps his balance somehow. And out of bounds at the 48, a pickup of 2. Wood coming again with a blitz, and they got him. Clint Copenhaver.
Sherman called timeout here. He had enough presence of mind to do that. He just got blindsided by Copenhaver on a 4-man blitz that he should have seen coming.
Sherman steps up again. There's an open man. Up the right side for another big chunk goes Banks, who has done most of his damage on the ground today. This time he bites off 29 yards worth. Sherman from the 26. Pressure from Steele. Steps up, and it's intercepted by Sam Sword. Called Sam Sword's name before his first interception of the year right here.
Sam has taken over the leadership in the absence of Eric Mays, and Matt Sherman did one of those inexplicable things. He'll not be able to explain this to himself or to anybody else. He threw it right to the wrong color shirt.
Kelly Springfield players of the game today. For Jared DeVries, pure brilliance. 10 tackles, 3 sacks. And for Michigan, Jeremy Tooman with a career-high 7 catches, 85 yards. And, as it's going to turn out, the winning touchdown for Michigan. Kelly Springfield is proud to donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund on behalf of these athletes. Final timeout used by Iowa with 25 seconds to go, and then we'll have the Nike Tour Championship. Michigan down 21-7 at the half. They come back, and it is sealed by Sam Sword's interception. The junior from Saginaw, Michigan, will make it 6-0 for Michigan.
For people who've never been in a game like this, the guy that summed it up best was Vince Lombardi. He used to tell us regularly, when you win one like this, all the joy, all the happiness, all the laughter goes to the victor. And to the loser, all he gets is the determination to come back again. And that's how it feels. There's nothing quite like it in the world. Look at these youngsters that have worked so hard to get to this place. And Iowa will come back and have their day.
So the Wolverines have done their part to set up the unbeaten showdown next week in East Lansing with Michigan State, which has Northwestern this afternoon. Michigan wins it, storming from behind 28-24. Michigan State here on ESPN 12:30 Eastern next Saturday. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Bill Curry and Dave Ryan, Dave Barnett, thanks for being with us today in Ann Arbor where the Wolverines pull it off. Now stay tuned for golf's Nike Tour Championship from Opelika, Alabama. Third and goal from the 2. Play fake, Greasy on the roll, pulls up, there's Jeremy Tillman, and Michigan leads.